What is biochemistry? Biochemistry is the branch of biology which deals with the study of chemical components, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids and inorganic compounds of importance for life, and the chemical processes, photosynthesis, respiration and digestion, in the living organism. Chemical components of the living things are composed of organic and inorganic compounds. Organic compounds are those which have carbon and hydrogen together in their molecule, and are also called hydrocarbons, and the derivatives derived from the hydrocarbons. Examples of organic compounds are carbohydrates, proteins and fats. Inorganic compounds are those which are otherwise organic compounds, e.g., water, carbon dioxide, acids, bases and salts. Metabolism. Chemical processes taking place in living cells are called metabolism. These processes are of two types: anabolic and catabolic biochemical processes. Anabolic processes, those reactions in which simpler substances are combined into complex substances with consumption of energy. For example, photosynthesis, synthesis of glycogen, synthesis of cell wall, synthesis of DNA, and different repair processes in a cell. Catabolic processes, those reactions in which complex substances are broken down into simpler substances with the release of energy. For example, breakdown of glycogen, autophagy in the cell, anaerobic cellular respiration. Carbon atom forms the backbone of the organic compounds. It can form maximum of 4 covalent bonds with 4 atoms in a tetravalent. It forms bond with other carbon atoms to form branched or unbranched, rings or chains. Thus, it is capable of forming huge complex molecules in the body. H bond stores high amount of immediate energy and ATP for reactions in the cell. O glycosidic bond in carbohydrates provides linkage to the large molecules. N peptide bond forms peptides and proteins. Larger organic compounds, cellulose, fats, proteins, form structural components of the cell, while the smaller organic molecules, amino acids, glucose, fatty acids, serve as source of energy or subunits for building. The medium of life, water, is the most abundant inorganic compound in all organisms. Like carbon atoms, water has its own special properties to support processes of life in the cells. Ionic molecules dissociate into positive and negative ions, while non-ionic molecules are dispersed in the water molecules. Therefore, in aqueous solution these molecules are in a favorable state to react with one another. Enzymes work in the aqueous solution and catalyze these reactions in aqueous environment. Non-polar substances are not soluble in water, such as fats. Therefore, lipid bilayer maintains the cell membrane. Water acts as a temperature stabilizer for organisms against sudden thermal changes in the environment, with less change in its own temperature, because much energy is needed to break the hydrogen bonds. Water absorbs much heat, as it changes from liquid to gas. In transpiration, it also provides cooling effect to the plants. The water molecules at 25 Celsius temperatures has 0.00000001 mole of each hydrogen and hydroxyl ions per liter. They affect and take part in reactions taking place in the cells. Water provides lubrication and fluid cushions around certain organs, such as around the heart and the lungs. Carbohydrates are polyhydroxy molecules of ketones or aldehydes, or the complex substances derived from them. Their general formula is CX, H2O, Y, and X is 3 or more. Literally, they are hydrated carbons, in Greek called saccharides, meaning sugar. Their examples are glucose, starch and cellulose, cotton. Aldehydes and ketones are carbonyl-containing functional groups. Aldehyde occurs at the end of a chain while ketone can be anywhere between the chain of carbon atoms. Polyhydroxy molecules containing aldehyde or ketone functional groups are called carbohydrates. With protein and lipids, they form glycoproteins and glycolipids, respectively. Glycoproteins and glycolipids both are present in the extracellular matrix. Their classification is as monosaccharides, oligosaccharides and polysaccharides. Monosaccharides, these are simple, sweet and soluble sugars, and they can't be hydrolyzed further. Their general formula is CH2O, N, and N can be any number, 3 or above. Glucose is an aldose and hexose sugar, 6 carbon atoms, and forms ring structure of its molecule in the solution. Plants produce glucose in photosynthesis. It is oxidized in the cells during aerobic respiration and yields energy in the form of ATP. Oligosaccharides, these are sweet and soluble sugars and are crystalline solids. On hydrolysis, they yield 2 to 10 monosaccharides. Sucrose is a disaccharide made up of glucose and fructose. There is glycosidic bond between the two monosaccharides in sugar. Polysaccharides, these are polymers of monosaccharides. They have large molecular masses. They are amorphous solids, tasteless and insoluble. They serve the purpose of energy storage and structural elements in the cells, like cellulose in cell walls of the plant cells gives strength. Their examples are starch, cellulose and glycogen in animals. Plants store energy in the grains and the seeds in the form of starch, while animals store energy in the form of glycogen in muscle and liver cells. In starch, the monomers of alpha-glucose are bonded by 1 to 4, glycosidic linkage. The numbers 1 and 4 denote carbon atoms of successive monomers of glucose. In cellulose there is beta-glucose and beta, 1 to 4 glycosidic bond between monomers. In glycogen there is also alpha, 1 to 4 glycosidic bond like in starch, but there is also alpha, 1 to 6 glycosidic bond at side chains, that occur after every 8 to 14 monomers of glucose in linear chain.